Under the Scope.
Hey Scope fans, Jared and Shane, that's me. We are here with another Scope summer movie review.
Just cranking them out.
This time around, and it's going to be a lot of them coming at you, so just get ready for it. But we're talking today about Vacation, or as it was introduced, The Vacation.
The Vacation. I hope you enjoyed The Vacation.
This is not a reboot. It is definitely a sequel to the original Vacation, which I believe came out in 1983. Of course, that was the Chevy Chase series.
Beverly D'Angelo.
Anthony Michael Hall.
Does not make a cameo.
Does not make a cameo. This is a continuation of the vacation story of the Griswold family. This time around, son Rusty and his family decide to take a cross-country road trip to Wally World. Of course, the amusement park the family went to originally in 1983.
Indeed.
So, Jared, I've given a little taste of what this film is about, but why don't you hit us with who starred in it?
I think your taste might have been all we need.
You liked it, huh?
No.
Well, who else starred in it?
So
you're good with the names.
We've got Ed Helms in the Rusty Griswold role. We've got what's her name?
Christina
I'm
Applegate.
great with names.
Wow,
Christina Applegate as his wife, Debbie.
Yep.
Debbie Do Anything, as we later find out.
Yes, indeed.
A couple of young bucks as the boys, James and Kevin.
Or as I like to call them, Kevin James, Jared. Their kids were named Kevin James.
I see. You've got Leslie Mann showing up in the middle of the film somewhere as Audrey, the sister.
Yep.
She's married to Chris Hemsworth.
Who his character's name is
Stone. He is a weatherman.
Texas weatherman.
I know you're a big fan of those type of people.
I was entranced when the weather stuff came up. There's no doubt about it.
Who else do we got? We already mentioned the Chevy Chase and Beverly D'Angelo.
Yeah, we've got Charlie Day pops
in. You've got a bunch of Nick Kroll shows up.
You got Keegan Kevin.
Keegan Michael Key shows up.
Getting froggy.
The breakout star of Ant-Man, Michael Pena, shows up.
Shows up briefly. You've got a cameo from the gal from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Cannot remember her name.
She's there. There's a lot of who's who in comedy right now. So.
Yeah, everyone's popping up.
Yes.
So yes, indeed. So the family decides they are going to take another road trip to Wally World from Chicago. They take a very strange path down through Tennessee and to Arkansas and to Texas. It's a long way.
It's a long trip, 2,500 miles.
And of course, Jared, a lot of the foibles, some repeat type elements from the original film, and some other things that are maybe within that vein of vacation antics, but different on their own right. That's one thing that this film tries very hard to do, is walk the tightrope between being a pure nostalgia trip and something that's a little bit different and fresh. I don't know if it's always successful in that. So the question is, does the film make up for it with its comedy and surprisingly aggressive style of heart? Trying to, you know what I mean? It's
aggressive style of heart.
Yes,
that's a good way to put it.
It's trying to be a bit of a family feel-good film in an R way, right?
A lot of swears, a lot of sexual situations. A lot of gross out humor.
Yeah, it's definitely not Christmas Vacation. It definitely trends more towards the original Vacation, but probably a little raunchier, a little bit more of the 2000s. That type of humor, which is pretty popular in movies where you've got the Judd Apatow and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think this is a tough movie to review for me, Jared, because there were definite times that I enjoyed it, where I thought it was funny, but then there are other times when it fell flat. And maybe that's just the nature of comedy nowadays, where you're not going to be busting a gut all the time.
We're often on the other end of the pendulum from the crowd. So and not exclusively, but
it is true.
There is a lot of broad comedy moments where most people were laughing, including us. But there are also some broad comedy moments where you and I were dead silent. And then there were the more subtle bits, a lot of it with Charlie Day, I think.
The language and just the subtle behavior of some of these comedic points where we get it.
We were laughing, and nobody else was laughing.
It was a dead crowd, so hard to say.
Yeah.
Hard to say if it was always successful or if this is going to play to bigger audiences in the way that we saw it, or something different.
I agree with you. It is a mixed. It is a mixed bag. I mean, there were definitely moments in the film where I was laughing quite a bit.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I think a lot of the better jokes were spoiled by the trailer. If you saw especially the Red Band trailer,
especially the stuff that ties into the original film.
Yeah.
Like, I think they tried so hard to appeal to your memories of what it was, that they felt like they had to get that out there because people wouldn't get it otherwise. Like, you have to hook somebody. But there wasn't so much of what they showed in the trailer was stuff that was really the funniest part of the movie, like you said.
Yeah. So you still get laughs, but there isn't that shock of seeing it for the first time. You know, and it's really hard for comedy to play strongly, you know, the second time through, the third time through, whatever.
Can we also talk about the Clark Griswold cameo of Chevy Chase?
How old he is?
Well, I mean, he's old. He doesn't look great.
Yeah.
But when did he turn into, like, when did Clark Griswold turn into the guy from Community? Like, this crazy weirdo. I mean, he was not
I just think that's all that Chevy Chase can do now.
He was not at all like the lovable Clark Griswold. He was definitely a bit more manic and weird and crazy.
Yeah.
And I was kind of excited to see what that cameo was going to be with Chevy and
Beverly
D'Angelo. And she was, you know, she played it fine, but Chevy Chase really just kind of bummed me out.
Yeah,
it sort of brought everything to a screeching halt.
Yeah, I mean, people get old, but it was just, I
don't care if he's old. It just was like, it seemed very weird and out of place. And I was really hoping that would work. And it didn't.
I think they went for weird characterization in a lot of cases, and it didn't always work. So maybe that was just another moment where they tried to do something strange, and it just didn't work.
It didn't work. And, you know, I have to give Ed Helms some credit because there were definite times in this film when he was channeling Chevy Chase from 1983. Mm-hmm. Some of the delivery and some of the things that they did.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's a tough
dad
balance.
who just really wants to just have a family trip
some of his
to this place, no matter what.
Yes. And his speech patterns were Chevy-like in a way, but yet it still had that Ed Helms delivery and feel all at the same time. So definitely a mixed bag.
Yeah, there were parts that I really didn't enjoy at all, and maybe this is an homage to the original that I don't really remember very well, but everything with the rental vehicle to me fell completely flat. It just felt cartoonish and strange. What was their vehicle in the first one? It was bizarre.
Yes, it was the station wagon that they drove.
I know, but they didn't really give any hint of it.
It was like they couldn't get a good rental car, so they got this weird thing.
Yeah, so it's in the film. It's like meant to be like this. I don't know. I forget the country, but this Albanian or something rental vehicle.
Strange.
It's like I can understand going for strange and building you know, a vehicle for comedy. Literally,
what is this
vehicle
person
for comedy?
Doing?
Yikes!
Sorry, a guy literally driving down the wrong side of the street.
Literally a vehicle for comedy into the film, but it just, like I said, it just felt like a cartoon. It just didn't seem like it would be even happening in the real world at all. I mean, this thing looks like it has a front end on both ends. It has weird plug-in cables. It's got two gas tanks. It's got this remote with all these buttons, and it just. I don't know what they were trying to do with that.
It was kind of funny, like once or twice. It was definitely an homage to the original. It didn't work.
No.
What I think that worked better.
I'm not sure if this is the
next one. Next one.
All right.
Yep. What worked better in this film was the kids.
The kids actually were
the kids
really
were probably the stars of the film. I think. I mean,
there's an interesting dynamic between the two brothers that changes as the film goes on, and it's really interesting. I mean, Kevin, the younger brother, is just a little monster.
Yeah, he's a jerk,
and he's very funny in that role. Yep. So
you have to wonder why his parents let him get away with some of the stuff he was doing, but that's a whole other story. But they were fun, and the kids were entertaining, and I was excited to see what they were going to do, and they played it well. And you know, Christine Applegate and Ed Helms, as we said, were perfectly acceptable, and you know, did their roles appropriately for what you would think.
Yeah, if anything, they didn't really get to stretch too much. I mean, we've seen them in these type of roles before.
Yep.
Literally last summer, we saw Ed Helms in a traveling movie called We're the Millers. So,
yes. So there you go.
Very kind of similar role. We've got a bus coming through here. Your road is really busy now.
Yep. You could have made that one. This bus is going to Brooklyn Center.
I want to drive in front of the bus.
Wow, that's a cross-town bus if there ever was one. So yeah, it's what is the guy doing a painting in his?
Well, you guys are just having a little travel log with us. We're taking our own little vacation drive.
So
we get review vacation.
Jared, we've talked about this film a lot. We've covered it.
I don't know how much we can pick at it for the good and bad. We've sort of covered everything that needs to be covered.
So let's take a quick break. We'll come back with a score, and then we'll sum up our final thoughts.
The Scope score is 2 1/4 stars.
So 2 1/4 stars. It is slightly above average.
About a C+.
It did more right than it did wrong, perhaps, or maybe what it did right was good enough to push it over the top.
That's fair. I mean, you're going to find some laughs.
Yes.
You're going to enjoy yourself, and if you're not too picky about your comedy, you're probably going to like it an awful lot.
So, Jared...
We're just some curmudgeons, apparently.
We are completely
We see too many movies.
We do. So, Jared, tell people how they can communicate with us to tell us that we are curmudgeons, we do see too many movies, and we need to loosen up.
You can like, comment, and subscribe down below. Tell us how much of a curmudgeon we are.
That is it.
Together. Not separately, together. We are bonded curmudgeons.
I liked it better than Jared. Yes. Norman Reedus, another cameo, Jared.
Oh, that's right. There's a lot of people in this movie.
What's his face? Livingston from
Ron
Band of
Livingston,
Brothers
right.
Office Space. Another weird role. Anyway, so, Jared, great review. I think we did a good job. We'll be back more with more Scope Summer movies.
If you like multiple versions of the vacation theme song, this movie's for you.
You got 3. So until next time, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen,
bye for now.
we find ourselves once again at the end. I hope you've enjoyed our time together. I know I have. Fear not, Scope faithful. The days shall pass as if they were but a moment. And Jared, Adam, and Shane will return with another thrilling episode. Until then, send your comments to comments@thescopeshow.com or leave a voicemail message by dialing
612-21-SCOPE. That's 612-217-2673.
Thanks for listening, faithful fans. This is Tony Partington saying arrivederci. Tune in next time to another terrific edition of The Scope.